In the history of modern science, few figures are as unique as Nikola Tesla, a true genius. He was celebrated for his extraordinary intellect, but also suffered greatly because of his bold, ahead-of-his-time ideas. Tesla's life felt like a movie, dramatic, moving, and deeply tragic. It's the story of a young man who left his homeland, devoted himself entirely to visionary ideas, worked tirelessly without chasing fame or fortune. Yet, his brilliance was often exploited, mocked as eccentric, and ultimately faded into poverty and obscurity. But even in his lonely final years, Tesla left behind a towering legacy. His contributions laid the foundation for much of modern technology. In today's video, join Time's View as we explore the remarkable life and legacy of Nikola Tesla, the eccentric genius once nicknamed the mad scientist, with inventions far beyond his time. If you enjoy stories like this and want to support us, feel free to check out the product links we've added in this video. Now, let's begin with Part 1, the childhood of a scientific prodigy. The birth of Tesla, child of the storm. It was a stormy summer night in 1856. In a small village of the Austrian Empire, now Croatia, a child cried out for the first time as thunder roared above. The midwife said, "This child is born of the storm." But the boy's mother responded calmly, "No, he will be a child of light." That seemingly casual exchange turned out to be eerily prophetic. The child was Nikola Tesla, the man who would bring electric light to the world. Even as a child, Tesla displayed signs of extraordinary intelligence. In his autobiography, My Inventions, he recounted a story where a man once gave money to all the children in the village, except Tesla. When asked why, the man simply said, "That boy is too smart for coins," a family that shaped a genius. Tesla came from a family of 5 siblings. His father was a strict Orthodox priest. His mother, however, was creative and brilliant in her own right. She crafted tools by hand and memorized hundreds of poems. Tesla credited his incredible memory and inventive nature to her. As a student, Tesla stunned teachers by solving complex calculus problems entirely in his head. Some accused him of cheating until they realized he genuinely had a photographic memory and superhuman concentration. For Tesla, math wasn't hard, it was instinct. He could visualize entire equations and processes clearly in his mind. Dreams, illness, and a turning point. As he grew older, Tesla dreamed of becoming an engineer, but his father insisted he follow in his footsteps and become a priest. Everything changed when Tesla fell seriously ill with cholera. At death's door for months, the family, who had already lost their eldest son, feared losing him too. During a moment of despair, his father promised, "If you survive, I'll let you study engineering." Tesla recovered. That promise became the first big turning point in his life, the one that set him on the path to becoming a world-changing inventor. Tesla's college years, brilliance and downfall. In 1875, Tesla entered the Polytechnic Institute in Graz. His first year was legendary, never missing a class, top of his class, praised as a star student. He studied 18 hours a day, to the point where professors warned his father that Tesla might die from overwork. Beyond engineering, Tesla excelled in literature, botany, and languages, eventually speaking 8 languages fluently. He could debate, recite poetry, and impress everyone he met. But from his second year onward, things began to change. He clashed with a professor, lost his scholarship, and fell into gambling. At one point, he lost all his tuition money, then won it back through more gambling, even covering his family's debts. Despite that brief comeback, his academic performance had dropped too far. Tesla eventually dropped out and cut off contact with his family, drifting into an uncertain future, struggles, and a new start. In late 1878, Tesla left school and moved to Maribor, now Slovenia, working as a draftsman at a small firm. But he continued gambling and playing chess until he was expelled from the town for not having proper residency papers. In 1879, he returned to Gospic. Just 1 month later, his father passed away. To survive, Tesla worked temporarily as a high school teacher. But the real journey was only just beginning, a journey that would take him across the ocean to the United States. Tesla arrives in America, a start with nothing. In June 1884, Nikola Tesla arrived in New York. He had only 4 cents, a few poems, some luggage, and most importantly, a letter of introduction. Before arriving here, Tesla had a risky journey. He was robbed of his train ticket and almost lost his life in a riot. When he arrived in America, he had almost nothing, no money, no acquaintances. But he had intelligence, ambition, and a firm belief in the future. The letter of introduction he brought with him was written by Charles Batchelor, an English engineer and close friend of Thomas Edison. The content of the letter was only 1 line, but it was enough to determine the turning point in Tesla's life. I have known only 2 great men. One is you. The other is the man who holds this letter. Working for Thomas Edison. The fateful handshake. When Tesla brought the letter to Edison, he was quickly hired at Edison Machine Works, the largest electrical equipment manufacturer at that time. At first, Tesla took on a normal engineering job, but after a short time, he made a strong impression with his outstanding ability and incredible creativity. Edison, the famous inventor, and also a pragmatic businessman, quickly recognized Tesla's talent. And then, he made an incredibly attractive offer. If you improve the entire electric generator system, I will pay you $50,000. Remember, $50,000 at that time was equivalent to a fortune. Tesla was young and somewhat naive. He completely trusted the promise of Edison, a great inventor whom he admired. Tesla started working with all his heart and talent. He successfully improved the electrical system, increasing efficiency dramatically. But when he completed the task and mentioned the reward, Edison just laughed. Tesla, you don't understand American humor. There was no $50,000, just a promise that evaporated and an offer to raise his salary from $10 to $18 a week. Tesla felt betrayed, and without hesitation, he resigned. It was a shock, but also a decisive step of a man who dared to live true to his ideals and values. Believing in alternating current, AC versus DC. After leaving Edison Machine Works, Tesla entered a difficult period. He had to do manual labor such as digging ditches to make a living. But he still had a burning belief. Alternating current, AC, would be the future of the world. Soon, luck smiled on him. Tesla met a kind and visionary investor, George Westinghouse. Westinghouse immediately recognized the potential of the alternating current technology developed by Tesla. He decided to buy the patent and invest heavily to support Tesla in developing this electrical system. At that time, in the electricity market, there was a relentless war between 2 systems: direct current, DC, led by Edison, alternating current, AC, developed by Tesla and Westinghouse. Edison, with the ambition to monopolize the electricity industry, used every trick to overthrow AC. He staged demonstrations of electrically killing pets, such as dogs, cats, and even elephants, to demonstrate the dangers of AC. He also lobbied the government to use alternating current in executions, creating a bad image in the eyes of the public. A vicious smear campaign. Tesla and Westinghouse, the unstoppable. Despite fierce attacks, Tesla and Westinghouse remained steadfast. They believed in the potential of alternating current, transmitting electricity over long distances, saving costs, and being more efficient than DC. The big turning point came in 1893 at the Chicago World's Fair. Westinghouse won the right to supply electricity. The alternating current system lit up the fairgrounds, a stunning victory witnessed by millions of people. Soon after, Tesla continued to make his mark with the hydroelectric plant at Niagara Falls, the first large-scale electric transmission system using alternating current. Tesla's technology proved its ability to transmit over long distances and became the global standard. The war of currents ended with a resounding victory for Tesla and Westinghouse. Although Edison did not admit it publicly, he was forced to back down. Glory, but not complete. In 1915, rumors spread that both Edison and Tesla were nominated for the Nobel Prize in Physics for their great contributions to the field of electricity. But then, neither received the prize. It is said that Tesla refused to share the prize with Edison, whom he had conflicted with and considered the villain in his life story. There is no official evidence to confirm this, but the story reflects the complex nature of the relationship between the two geniuses. One was a pragmatic businessman, the other was an uncompromising dreamer. Although he did not receive the Nobel Prize, Tesla did not stop there. His alternating current became the basis for the entire modern electrical system, from lighting to power transmission, to electric cars, to renewable energy. Everything we use today, household electricity, television, the internet network, is partly derived from his invention. The end of glory, the beginning of tragedy. After winning the war of electricity, Tesla entered the peak period. He was famous throughout the United States and Europe, owning more than 300 patents, from electricity, induction motors, to radio waves and remote control. But then, from here, a new series of tragedies began. With dreams beyond the limits, ideas considered crazy, and a world not ready to understand him. Clear 2000,459. Kekwa Zik. Ketkwa Banzik. The Big Dream, Global Wireless Power. At the height of his fame, Nikola Tesla didn't stop with alternating current. Instead, he began pursuing an even more audacious dream, transmitting wireless power around the world. Tesla believed that energy could be transmitted without wires, through natural electromagnetic waves. He didn't just talk about it, he started building a giant structure to make it happen. Wardenclyffe Tower. Located on the coast of Long Island, USA, this tower was designed by Tesla as a global wireless power station. He dreamed of a future where people could use free electricity anywhere on Earth. And of course, that idea scared the tycoons. Funding, the first obstacle. The Wardenclyffe project required huge funding. Initially, Tesla was supported by J.P. Morgan, one of the most powerful financial capitalists in the United States. But when he learned that Tesla had no intention of making a profit from transmitting electricity, because he wanted to make it free for all of humanity, Morgan quickly withdrew his capital. And like a domino effect, other investors also withdrew. No one wanted to invest in an ambiguous project with no clear commercial goals. Not long after, Tesla's laboratory suffered a serious fire and explosion, causing heavy damage. With no more capital, Wardenclyffe Tower was abandoned. Westinghouse, his old companion, also fell into financial crisis. Tesla officially entered a period of decline. Lonely days. Without aid, Tesla was forced to sell many of his valuable patents to survive. He left the spotlight, quietly living in cheap hotels in New York, relying on small subsidies from old inventions and a few friends who still remembered him. But despite living in poverty, he continued to research. Tesla continued to think about new technologies, radio waves, weapons that could end all wars, transmitting signals through space. But most of these ideas were too far beyond the understanding of the time, no one funded them, and they remained on paper forever. The more ideas were ahead of their time, the more he was seen as an eccentric. Scientific councils gradually shunned him. The press called him a mad scientist. An entire community that once cheered him now turned its back on him. The world did not understand him, and he gradually no longer wanted to understand the world. Tesla did not marry. He devoted his entire life to science. He also had fewer and fewer friends. He began to avoid communicating with others, suffered from obsessive-compulsive disorder, OCD, and became withdrawn. Once he said that he loved a pigeon like a human being. It sounds funny, but it could be the deep confession of a lonely soul, unable to find anyone to understand. The world out there, perhaps, is too small or too harsh for the dreams he carries. But Tesla was not a pessimist. Despite living in isolation, Tesla still showed a special temperament when appearing in public. Intelligent, elegant, frank, but also full of wit. Writer Robert Underwood Johnson described him as a humble, profound, strong, and compassionate person. His secretary, Dorothy Scarrett, once said, "His smile always exuded an aristocratic aura. There was something very pure about Tesla, as if he lived partly outside this world." His close friend, Julian Hawthorne, called him a strange combination. An engineer, a poet, a philosopher, a musician, a linguist, and an extremely gourmet. The quiet end of a legend. In 1943, Nikola Tesla died in a small room at the New Yorker Hotel. No family, no money, no one by his side. He left behind more than 300 patents, notebooks, and unfinished ideas, but most of them were forgotten or sealed by the U.S. government after his death. Rumor has it that the FBI seized his papers because they were linked to weapons of mass destruction. While this has never been confirmed, it does suggest that Tesla was no ordinary genius. It was only in retrospect that people recognized him. It was not until the second half of the 20th century that the world really turned around to look back. And then, everyone realized that Nikola Tesla was centuries ahead of his time. His name is given to the unit of magnetic field, wireless technology, the global power grid, remote control, electric cars, all originated from his inventions and visions. Today, the name Tesla is honored through the famous electric car company founded by Elon Musk. But more than a name, he is a living inspiration for millions of modern inventors, engineers, and thinkers. Tesla may have lived and died alone, but his legacy has never faded. It took the world too long to understand and recognize him. But as people say, even if it's late, it's never too late to appreciate a genius. If there wasn't a Nikola Tesla with hundreds of crazy and bold ideas, we probably wouldn't have had the outstanding technological achievements we have today. From Wi-Fi, radar, renewable energy to electric cars. He deserves to be honored, not only as a great engineer, but also as a prophet of modern science. If you find this video interesting and want to spread the story of Tesla, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos from Times View. Thank you for taking the time to listen.